place away from Casey Kane. 3 wide, Tony Stewart.
And when you're in the middle, you left.
Kurt Busch did wisely. He lifted.
Oh, the crossover.
Here we go.
Not quite.
Oh, look out, trouble. Stewart's in the wall. Kane is into Stewart, and the field scatters around Tony's spinning car.
And Stewart, I believe, got loose because of the crossover. Like he came back across him, maybe. Got the air off the spoiler. Not very happy.
Racing for 13th place, 12th and 13th places, Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, and Kurt Busch. What?
It always happens that way, doesn't it?
It always happens, though.
Let's see what happened in Chicago.
Well, this is not. Here's what happened in Chicago. We got to go back this on a restart, and that's what caused all the hullabaloo up there. Had a fight down in the pit area. There we see the scuffle going on in the pit area. Tony Stewart goes on to win the race.
It's not going to work out as well for Tony this time. He is not going to be as happy exiting his race car as he and Kurt Busch and Casey Kane racing for a spot. It looked like when Kurt tried the crossover.
Tony said, I'm okay. Let's see.
You know, the cars are on the edge right here anyway, and it's real easy to take the air off the spoiler, but we'll watch what happens. See Kurt underneath. Did he get into the back of him?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he touched him. I don't think he touched him. I think Kurt just got him arrow loose. Like I said, you're turning the car there, and when you have a car that close to you, you're taking the air off the spoiler, or the guy's taking the air off the spoiler. I don't think Kurt made contact. And I'm sure Tony probably, it felt like that to him. But that angle?
If he didn't, he was as close as he could possibly be.
Tony was already loose getting off the corner. And when you get a car that much closer, there's no, it's just like lifting the rear of the car up off the racetrack, and that's what happened to Tony.
And I think that Wally's correct. I don't think that Kurt Busch touched him as he exited that corner.
So Tony out of his car, and no doubt not happy after crashing out of the race. Meantime, pit road will be open this time when the leaders come by. Yep. Tony, 4th in the championship standings.
Okay, we see the 97 car, and he pulls up right behind him.
See, the 20's already loose.
Looks like he was going around, yeah.
I'd take great. Casey
and there Casey got in the back of him after he came off the wall. If we can tell anything on board to Kurt Busch or not, but we ought to try.
This is probably going to be a pretty good angle.
Since we have a camera.
Watch here.
Clear all around right there. You got the 9.
Never touched
outside.
him.
Watch the 20 clear low. Come on, come on. Clear all around. Good job. Good job. Caution's out.
Sprint Cup Series Coke Zero 400 powered by Coca-Cola. You saw it on NASCAR Nonstop. Tony Stewart involved in the most recent caution. 4 cautions tonight. They did not need this. Just got loose. Collected the 13 and the 19 with damage.
Yeah, I feel like he had to cut a tire, had to run over something as quickly as that car came around. There was some sort of a problem. Yeah, he had a tire go down, I'm sure. Probably ran over something. And the 13 car, Casey Mears, having a great night with a chance to win, gets into it.
Maybe not a lot of damage on the 13 or the 19, but plenty of damage on the 14 as we ride along.
Watch Tony's hands. Watch his hands. Drives in the corner. He knows he has a problem right there. So, yeah, that was more than just being free on entry. He had some sort of a problem. You could see he knew it. He had to turn the wheel to the right. Then you saw the big correction.
Tony Stewart is in trouble. Oh, Tony Stewart, what everyone hoped would not happen, and he has trouble, and he gets the 99 car involved.
Man, I tell you, that was just a bad decision right there. Leave him out there. I was worried about that. We don't really know what caused this thing with Tony Stewart. It may have been that tire or not, but, well, he sure does look frustrated here.
Very angry Tony Stewart in the car, and a lot of frustration. Word is he may have had some contact with another car.
Because the tire quit smoking. I mean, he was doing a great job nursing that thing around there, just being very careful with the fender. And he did a great job with it because it was smoking less and less. But this might have been a complete different situation here.
Here comes the 2 car.
It looks like Tony was having some problems right there, struggling up against up high, and the 2 car just had too much momentum on him.
Carl Edwards was on the high side, and he was trying to have nowhere to go, and Tony's car spun up, and Carl just goes right into it. So damage on the front of the 99, and there's the heavy damage on the back of the 2-time.
Yeah, we see the tires flat on the left front. Tony probably had that tire go down and trying to get out of the way, and 2 car got into the back of it. Yeah, that's exactly. You see the sparks flying out from under the car. Nowhere for Kurt Busch to go.
That's a great pickup, Andy. The tire going down, and suddenly Tony slows up, and there's nowhere for Kurt to go right behind him.
Yeah, not totally unintentional by Kurt Busch. Tough break for Carl Edwards, too. He's got his hand out the window.
Watch the left front there. Watch see his hand come up. If his hand comes out.
Tires down. You see the sparks flying.
Yeah.
The sparks are flying out. The tires went flat. And what's Tony probably so frustrated about, he's trying to slow down, get out of the way, and he gets hit behind. And really, Kurt didn't have anywhere to go. He just couldn't slow down that quick. Just a tough deal for both of these drivers. 2 chase contenders, 3 chase contenders in this now. So, wow, the chase contenders here, Kansas City, they have.
Elliott Sadler here in the 19 car. Now Elliott crash.
Turn 2.
Oh, and nowhere for Tony Stewart to go. And you see there's nowhere for Denny Hamlin. They just keep wrecking over here. This is normal product of Dover Raceway.
The concrete canyon. You just get locked up there and can't do anything.
As you come up out of turn 2, the groove funnels, and one car gets sideways, there's nowhere to go.
But you wouldn't believe the amount of banking over there, Mike, that just leads you right to that inside wall, right where the 88 car is.
Elliott Sadler was the first car around. Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., here's Scott Riggs. A lot of key contenders. And there's Elliott climbing out.
Now, I know at least 3 cars that are in the top 8 points right there, Harvick, Hamlin, and Earnhardt.
Harvick trying to fire it up, move away. Stewart will get what's left of his Home Depot Toyota back to pit road. Now you see Sadler out of his car. Elliott's foundation is going to auction off the hood of that car. It's a little more crumpled than it was at the start of the day.
Let's see if we can get a look and see what happened here, guys. Goes Elliott there in the 19 car. He comes down the hill, right in the front of David Gilliland.
Get another look at it, but I didn't see that David Gilliland did anything wrong. He was right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh my gosh.
Hamlin came flying in there.
Absolutely.
Bill Elliott, the 21.
You know, when you come under that, when you come out of turn 2 back there, Mike, under that bridge, down low, it's pretty hard for the spotters to see that point on the racetrack. See the 19 go up the hill. Here comes Tony, and he says, oh man, please go down, please go down.
Boy, look at Casey Kane in that 9. He actually got some damage on the rear.
The 15's the one that done a whale of a job.
Darrell, we've always said this is a self-cleaning racetrack, and I think most drivers coming through turn 2 expected Sadler and everyone else to just slide to the bottom, and they didn't.
I agree. There's Stewart up on the outside, just gets the car up in that loose stuff, and around he goes. Now he comes back in the wall, but there's a lot of traffic coming, folks, a lot of traffic, and we're going to see Robert Presley in the 77 car somewhere right here. He's going to run into the right side of Tony Stewart's car.
There are Compton and Rusty Wallace going by on the high side, and Presley then hitting Stewart.
One more angle there. We see Tony spin, head on in the wall. That isn't too bad. All that sheet metal that's given, but when he comes down off the corner and almost stops, and Robert Presley comes along and runs in the right side, that's going to be the one that hurts.
From Stewart's onboard camera,
Today at Circuit City.
Uh-oh, there goes Tony. Oh, my goodness.
Crash in turn 4.
Man,
and there in the midst of it sits Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch, the 2 leaders.
I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe Tony got a little loose all at once.
Kurt Busch, the 2, will go straight to the garage, Jerry.
I'm worried about you. I ain't worried about that car.
That was Greg Zipadelli, Stewart's crew chief. And the strongest Chevy and the strongest Dodge in Daytona are wrecked.
Let's watch it. I don't know if Kurt got into the back of Tony or not. Let's wait till we get around here and see. Tony's car just Tony hit the apron. He got down on the apron. He got a little bit loose. Kurt was all over the back of him, and there he goes.
Tony's dropped the window net on his car. That's a signal to safety workers that he is okay. Watch the yellow line.
Yeah, watch the left front tire. Gets it on the apron just a little bit. You see the car wiggle, and he gets loose. He's got to probably lift out of the throttle a tad. And here comes Kurt. Cannot get off of him. They make contact.
And then once Tony gets sideways, nowhere for Kurt Busch and the 2 to go.
What a shame.
You're doing 185 miles an hour, Darrell. The car in front of you suddenly loses several miles an hour of momentum. Was there anything Kurt Busch could do to avoid Stewart?
No, you could see he was trying to get down. He was trying to get underneath Tony to get away from him. It wasn't possible. He did everything he could do.
And remember, they had fresh tires. This is a racetrack where you run wide open on the mat. Just listen.
Just that little, you hear the throttle, and that's all it takes.
Tony Stewart's 9th try to win the Daytona 500 will come up short. We can show you the speed of Kurt Busch's car going through here. Sorry, we don't have that telemetry on the 20. But we'll give you an idea of how Kurt Busch tries to scrub off speed as Stewart loses his momentum. Busch is in the number 2.
These guys are quick, but they just can't. This happens too quick. See the car wiggle ever so slightly. Tony, you heard the throttle on the other replay we had. Tony had to work the throttle, and Kurt just...
And another big crash on the backstretch, Rick.
Man, and right up in front of more traffic.
Behind you in 3.
Ryan Newman's in it.
David Reagan is in it.
Well,
Fire.
And Chris Buescher was in it as well.
Chris Buescher involved. The 83 of Dylan Lupton up on top of the 31. The Fire underneath the hood of the 23. And the 14 of Tony Stewart.
So he's ripped the whole lines out of the 14.
Stop right here, Lisa.
The 31 and the 14. There's some contact right here heading into turn 1. The 31 accelerates, gets inside the 14 as they enter the backstretch.
Yeah, we've seen this several times. The cars haven't, getting into turn 1, and the 14 just kept coming down on the 31 on the back straightaway. Wasn't happy maybe with what went on in turn 1, and
big impact by the 23, and you see right there Chris Buescher kind of bounces between them. Yeah. Luckily gets through, but that was a really big impact for the 23 of David Reagan. It's great to see him climb out. This would be a great view of it, Jeff.
Outside 14. 19 straight back, looking inside tight, inside tight, inside tight. We got wrecked hard right here. Got wrecked hard.
Carl Edwards in the 19 coming up the racetrack.
I mean, if you felt like that the 14 came down on the 31 getting into turn 1, so the 23 really into
that up, show it.
I'm back at Infineon Raceway, and yes, that is a live picture.
You know, payback sometimes. Well, a lot of times it happens around this place. Tony Stewart just got paid back for what he did earlier to Brian Vickers. And that's the result.
Yeah. 6th caution of the day. And that is an interesting position. Here is the replay coming into turn 11.
not sure.
Those are the guys just in front of him.
Yeah, but there's Vickers. Already made contact with Stewart.
Vickers had worked his way into the top 5. Had to make another pit stop anyway. So the attitude kind of, what the heck, I'll let him go and then pay it off.
And I can guarantee you that
all clear.
All Vickers has been thinking about since he got turned by Stewart was getting in a position to do this.
Looking for him. Where's that 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when Vickers got turned around earlier, Ryan Pemberton, his crew chief, was giving him the play-by-play of what happened. Vickers said, I know, I felt it.
Yeah,
One more time.
This is early. Okay, no, this is just now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Vickers comes from the left side of the racetrack, or from on your screen comes from the right side of the racetrack across to run in the back of Tony.
Now, this is what happened earlier in the race. If we're on board with Stewart, that's Vickers up ahead. They're going down at 11. Stewart just leans on him and keeps leaning and keep leaning and just pushed Vickers into the tires down there.
And you know what, really, and Tony, and we've seen this twice, Tony got on him and would not get off of him. I mean, pushed him. We saw it a little later with Joey Logano. There was no other cars around. It was just a one-on-one, and Joey's like, I'm tired of messing with you. I just pushed you out of the way. That took out one car, the car that was messing with him, just like this accident. I'm not condoning and saying it's right or wrong, but by
At
God,
least he didn't take 5 other guys
I don't
out.
want to be caught in somebody else's mess.
Yeah,
you know, I don't want to be caught in somebody else's mess. At least Vickers went back and handled.
Whoa, Kurt way up the racetrack.
Not good.
About to get crowded.
Not good.
Oh, he's coming to pit road 24. I think he.
Trouble.
Crash.
Run behind him.
Matt.
Tony Stewart. Casey Kane.
Wreck in front of me.
All torn up.
I think the 24 was thinking to come to pit road right there. When he slowed down, it just stacked them all up.
Guys, a little bit. Tony Stewart, we need to see, make sure he's okay here, because that was a pretty hard lick. He got hit the wall and got hit pretty hard there, so we need to get him out of this car. A lot of smoke. When the net's down, that's a good sign. I think he's okay, but I just wanted to. Don't need to take any chances with him.
Now watch Chase Elliott as Tony Stewart climbs out under his own power. Boy, that's good news.
Yeah, he jumped right out of that car. He's fine.
Big round of applause from the crowd for Stewart.
Good for him.
Watch the 24, right side of your screen on the inside.
Starts to wall up here. Looks to me like he's thinking about coming to pit road.
Yep.
Miraculously, he didn't get hit, but further back.
Was there contact between Trevor Bayne and Matt Kenseth? That's the question.
Yeah, he did get a little bit of damage on the right rear quarter.
See the 5 car that really hit Tony Stewart in the left front there. That's what had me a little worried. But yeah. Tony jumped right out of that car. He was fine.
Guys,
what about poor old
sideways? See why.
Here's the 4 got into the back of Ward Burton, I believe.
And then Burton's 22 got into Stewart. And everybody scrambles.
That car is taking a whale of a ride, that 20 car is. It's getting hit. It's upside down. It's hit on its roof. It's on fire.
And here's another angle.
Coming off of turn 2 where we've said that it's the wind. Somebody got into the back of that car right there.
That's Ward Burton right there.
You saw a puff of tire smoke, and then everything let loose.
I think that's what started. Somebody got in back of Ward Burton off turn 2.
I'm pretty sure the 4 car got into the back of Ward Burton, turned him into the 20 car, and God help all of them, because there's no place to go. And you can't see. And here we come off of turn 2 again. Right there. See, Ward Burton got pushed around by that car, and that's the 4 car.
And he got in the back of Tony Stewart. Of course, Tony Stewart going airborne here.
And it was Ward Burton's car being sideways that blocked up the track for everybody behind him.
Boy, and it gets hit by every car in the field, seems like, and Tony Stewart's car just took a whale of a ride.
Now here from the blimp.
Well,
it's just ahead of it.
Yeah, we're just ahead of it there.
Now look at Burton's car. When it goes sideways, it collects up the whole rest of the field.
I mean, there's cars going under Stewart's car while he's in midair.
That must be at least 30 cars in that wreck.
Around the 1. Around the 1. Around 2. 3 wide inside. 3 wide. 3 wide. Clear into the 14.
That is something a driver never wants to hear.
4 tires, I made it through. I flapped out the tires. I made it through. 10-4, bud. We'll put 4 on.
And Tony Stewart goes for one of the wildest rides in recent memory of Daytona.
Kind of looks like the Richard Petty crash here, back when Richard crashed off turn 4 down here, standing on
Look,
its
he's got
nose.
Bobby Labonte's hood. It was hooked to the back of his car as he was in midair.
Both Gibbs's cars roll into a halt there.
There's Tony, helmets off, talking to the folks there. He's talking to Bobby Labonte, his teammate, as he gathers himself together and prepares to get out. But great news that he is okay.
33 lead lap cars as Paul Tracy just made a stop, went a lap down. Crash. Car upside down. Start finish line. It is Stewart.
Daniel Quinn in the 50 got into it.
I don't see anyone else, but Stewart has taken a wild ride.
Tony had just helped the 8 car get to the lead going down the back. The 8 car drove to the inside, and I think Tony thinks there's a hole right there that he's trying to get down in, and there's just not, he just doesn't quite have enough room to get in front of Kenny Wallace. And look at that race car. They just become like feathers blowing in the wind. Now, this is a hard lick right here. Fortunately, it's just, it's more in the left front than it is anywhere else.
And it was the right side of Stewart's car that took the brunt of the impact as it went over.
See, he's trying to get down in that hole right there. Not much room. I know Kenny Wallace is doing everything he can probably to give Tony all the room he can, but there's just not enough room there. You see the roof flaps deploy. Car goes upside down and hits hard on the left side.
Yeah, the roof flaps deployed. They did their job, but the air just got out from underneath the back of the car. The car came around.
There's Tony. He is okay.
You hear him get out of the throttle.
Now keep it going, keep it going.
He pretty much did everything he could do.
Yeah, Tony was just trying to get in a hole that really wasn't big enough.
Wow.
Watch out, now go left, go left. Caution's out, caution's
I'd like
out.
to be a young driver like Bernie Lamar and have that happen right in front of you.
And that was his teammate, Tony Stewart.
Wrecking behind you. Hand up, hand up, hand up, hand up.
Hand up, signal you're slowing down.
See, it's just right there. Just not quite enough room. And again, as I've said over and over, the car is so light in that part of the racetrack.
Tony Stewart, the 33, comes down in front of
4 deep behind Stewart and Kenseth.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick's got some real help coming towards the front here.
Michael Waltrip in the 55. Into the picture. Pushed by Casey Mears. Kenseth with Harvick behind him. Oh, there's contact. Stewart into the middle of the pack and over.
Caution's out.
And a huge wreck to end this race. Matt Kenseth is going to get to the finish line first. Is everybody okay? And one of the championship drivers got through. Which ones didn't? NASCAR will check the video to see who was out in front at the moment of caution. They have just called confirmation that Matt Kenseth is the winner of this race. So many cars involved in the accident. Tony Stewart's car up on its side. Jimmy Johnson's car all torn up. And it's going to take a bit to sort out the actual finish of this one as Stewart climbs from his car. And that's great to see. Bobby Labonte
side. Lonnie's climbed out there deadening with Jimmy Johnson. Like this about to climb out of his car. Damage on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car below. Right rear is still on the scene.
And the scene.
Good. What turned into a terrible day for him. And now his teammate going over to say hello.
Dale Jr. just refired from the accident scene and came to the finish line. He's picking up Jimmy Johnson, who just climbed from his destroyed race car.
Yeah, Junior just trying to complete the last lap. He came off pit road, crossed the line, and he saw Jimmy standing there.
We'll be right back.
If that left rear tire doesn't come apart, not going to be good on Jimmy.
Well, he'd be the first to know.
Yeah, I know.
Junior here on last lap. Chaos at Talladega Superspeedway. Matt Kenseth is the beneficiary of all the problems out there.
Well, what a turn of events. First, show you who was in the lead at the moment the caution came out. There's Stewart with Matt Kenseth. And you see clearly Kenseth out in front as the caution light turns to yellow.
Yeah, it looks like the first three might be Kenseth, Gordon, and Kyle Busch from that point.
Yeah.
But it was
anybody's guess from that point.
When it all started, Michael Waltrip had a huge run down on the bottom, getting pushed by Casey Mears.
That definitely was the first contact you saw was Michael Waltrip into Tony Stewart, but he was getting a big, big push and nowhere to take it.
Well, here it is. Waltrip in the 55, Mears in the 13, Stewart in the 14.
You can see Tony just a little bit late in making that move to get back down. Harvick and Kenseth on the outside had a run, so they were literally going to go by him on both sides.
Watch the two. The championship leader somehow avoided getting really torn up in that.
See, it looked like Martin Truex was going to get through there. Bobby Labonte caught him right at the end.
They waited all day to do it, but it was big when it happened.
Yes, sir.
See, Michael Waltrip just barely catching the left rear quarter panel of Kevin Harvick. Get him involved. Stewart's car upside down. On top of Casey Kane's number 5.
And down here, Craig Biffle, Kyle Busch, both of them kind of describing amongst the laugh and probably a big sigh as well. How willing out there.
Incredible.
Craig Biffle, 5th place right now. What did you see out there coming to the checkered flag?
They're coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and you know as a driver, Tony Stewart's leading this race. He's got no help. He tries to make a move that's going to get him some push and help. And you know as a driver, if you make that move, there's a chance that somebody's not going to lift on the last lap, and this is a situation that could happen.
A ferocious crash in the back straightaway off turn number 2. Tony Stewart, the leader around. Mark Martin's in it. Ward Burton's in it. One car got completely sideways and the track was blocked. Look at the damage to Schrader's car. He is climbing out. His teammate Johnny Benson is involved. Kurt Busch, you see his damaged car. And the leader Stewart caught up in it.
Mark Martin and 24 car's got damage on the right side. I don't know how bad it is. I don't think it's real bad, but he scraped along the side of Tony Stewart.
Dave Blaney and Ward Burton are the other cars involved. Jeff Gordon, I believe he got a little right side damage as he drove through there.
He got into the back side of Stewart's, but it didn't look that bad.
But he did get through.
I don't think he hurt his cars cosmetically. That's about it. I think he can fix it. I think Tony must be hurt, and I feel so sorry for Kenny Schrader. I hope Tony's all right.
Stewart's car got sideways, Darrell, and I believe he got hit hard in the left side.
Yeah, they're...
when one car gets sideways here, this track gets so narrow. There's nowhere for anyone to go. Damage to Buckshot Jones.
I think he actually was involved in something that started all of this off turn 2.
Yeah, old Bush has gone to the garage now, by the way.
And all those cars that were on the tail end of the lead lap do get the free pass around.
Well, the 24
pull up
and the
behind
40,
the pace car.
Little damage on the right front of the 24, but not very much.
Of the lead lap cars, about the only two cars that was not involved is the 24 and the 40, and we're hearing that Jeff Gordon may have a little bit of damage.
Yeah, he's got a little bit, but not very much. He's okay.
Dick Berggren.
He definitely has got some damage. They've been talking on the radio about it. The most important thing they want to do is to clear the fender so that there's no chance of that fender hitting the tire. Right now, they're beating on the right front corner, trying to get that fender out. They want to make sure that there's no contact with the tire. There is now, however, a hole in that fender area. That's not going to help him at higher speed. Right side tires are on. They're going to change the left side tires. Tough break for Jeff Gordon back there in the traffic, and he just got in.
Again, Dave Blaney involved, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Schrader, Kurt Busch, and I believe Ward Burton. Let's see what happened coming off turn 2.
It's Tony all by himself.
Going low.
Oh, Buckshot got in trouble.
He was sideways off turn 2, got loose, and Tony Stewart just came up on him so fast, nowhere to go. There's where Jeff Gordon got the damage. Sterling Marlin gets through, and Bill Elliott gets through.
Oh,
and there's the hit.
Goodness.
Spencer just pile drove Stewart's car. There you see Ward Burton get caught up in it, and a host of cars on the outside.
That was another view. Just see Buckshot Jones in the 44.
There was so much smoke that Spencer and those guys just could not see. There's all the smoke out there. So watch, these guys are coming here and they can't see. They're coming out of the smoke. It's like coming out of a bank of fog.
Wow, what a hit.
Oh, my goodness.
And at that speed, Darrell, from 300 feet away, what can you do?
Well, there's nothing. You're at just the mercy of the track, either opening up and you slip through.
Watch in front of you there. Watch in front of you there. Come on, come on, come on. Back to the caution. Go back to caution. Come on. 24 is the leader. Watch the 9 outside.
Tony Stewart, it's reported, is out of his car.
Well, the good news is all that impact was on the right side.
Yes.
That wasn't in the driver's side. You can see there on the right side. I'm sure he's shaken up quite a lot. They're stabilizing him there with stuff around his neck.
And our folks report that Tony Stewart was moving when they put him on the stretcher. And we're hoping this is precautionary. And it's pretty standard anytime a driver has to be helped from his car, get him stabilized, get him on that stretcher into the infield care center.
Turn 2 is a tough turnover, boys. I can't tell you how many times today we've said we've seen wrecks over there that didn't happen, but they should have happened.
So here's Gordon back in. Turn 1.
Tony
Stewart. And caution will wave for the second time today.
I tell you, that poor guy can't catch a break.
Darrell, the car climbed the hill and eased into the wall. It wasn't a particularly hard hit.
I don't know, Mike. That right front's damaged pretty good, and I saw the brake rotors and parts flying everywhere. That thing crashed hard on that right side, and there's a guy that's already hurt. Man, he's hurt.
Yes.
He already had problems on the right side there. I tell you, it's your ribs under your shoulder blade. He may have bruised them, but he probably finished them off right there with that wreck.
Well, it has been a horrible month for Tony Stewart. Let's go back 4 weekends to Talladega. And that car and damage Stewart's already sore rib cage and shoulder area.
Well, he's a tough guy, and he can take a few licks, but sometimes, it just gets to be too much, and that looks like too much right there.
We were just talking to him. He was very relaxed, very happy with his car. We were a little tight on entry, but other than that, we were kind of making our way to the front. So, they took Tony downtown to look at him. After the Busch wreck last night, he was pretty sore. He got out of the car. He was even sore today. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed, say a prayer for him, and it's just too bad. We'll go to Dover next week and try to rebound.
Saw him take his gloves off, or I don't think that's that or his Hans.
There's that spring.
There's that spring.
Dave Blaney's got it.
So they bounced it around
Jason
pretty
Leffler,
well.
yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Leffler.
was bouncing around pretty good. The 9 car hit it first.
Now, Steve, what happened to Mark Martin as a result of that?
He's got problems, Mike. He's talking to Mike Beam and Pat Trison right now. He said, I ran over a coil spring and gosh knows what else from behind that 33 car. He said, I'm really sorry, guys. We had a great race car. They're going to try and let him ride around until pit road is open to see how much damage there is to that 6 car.
Steve, there is a bunch of damage right on the left side of that valence, so he'll definitely have to come to pit road and fix that. But back to Tony Stewart, the 33 car, I know he won Daytona, but it's been a rough ride in this Busch Series for him since then. Remember the big wreck at Talladega last month.
He hadn't just jumped out of that race car either, Larry. They're taking their time getting him out.
Just got loose. How many times have we seen that off turn? And Darrell, it seems like it's more off turn 4 for the Busch cars, off turn 2 for the Cup cars.
Yeah, and there goes that spring, Larry, rolling down through there. Here comes the 9. He hits it first. Now, I don't know. I didn't see where it went after that.
I mean, it has about knocked the rear end all out from that car.
Watch Mark Martin. He's going high, going high, going high. Nope, we're going low. And around him.
Yeah, and you see the sparks flying out from under the 9 as he went by. Well,
Tony's out of the car, and he is okay.
Wow. I mean, that was late exit.
Tony's okay, but he's holding his right arm and his shoulder, rubbing it.
Now here comes Blaney.
I think both rear springs came out of there.